Riot Games opening up betting. Why we're opening betting sponsorships at esports and how we're doing it responsibly. Okay, so generally, I'll just start this off with giving my opinion. I generally think that betting sponsorships are not good. Like, I don't think that they are like morally good or anything, but I think you should be allowed to promote things that are not good in general, as long as you do it in a way that is not disgusting. So for example, if we take something that is like objectively bad for you, like sugar, like Coca-Cola, right? Like Coca-Cola is bad for you. Drinking Coke is bad for you. Drinking soda is bad for you. Eating candy is bad for you, right? And they say like, here, you can enjoy this snack. It tastes good. It's like, it's something that will be enjoyable to eat, but they don't start saying, oh, this is great for your fucking health. You should only eat this. This is like something you should incorporate into your diet all the time. And you're promoting it in a way that is like honest. I don't think that it is something that should not be allowed to do. Like, for example, there's fast food sponsorships. There's like sponsorships for candy. There's sponsorships for soda. There's sponsorships for alcohol. Like, alcohol is something that is, once again, yeah, like a Kit Kat sponsorship. Like, I don't think that Kit Kat should not be able to sponsor, because Kit Kat is just bad for your health. You know, there's very low nutritional value. It's something that will, like, if you overdo it, you can get diabetes. You can die from eating, like, overeating sugar and stuff like that. Like, it is a real thing. But as long as you're doing it in like it's a good snack to have every now and then, I don't have a problem with that type of stuff. I don't have a problem with alcohol sponsorships. Like, alcohol is something that I enjoy. I know that alcohol is only like negative for my health. I know that alcohol is only negative for my health, but it's nice to have a couple drinks, and it makes you like just enjoy what you're doing a little bit more. For me, right? Not for everyone, but for me, like, if I normally drink like probably like twice a week, have somewhere between like 2 drinks, 3 drinks. I don't get like super drunk or anything. But I feel like that is something that as a person, I should have the ability to do if I want to do it, even if it's not good. That's kind of how I view most things in general. Like, I'm pretty liberal when it comes to, I think people should be able to, like, I'm pro legalization of marijuana. I think marijuana is very dangerous. And I say this as somebody who, like, there was a portion of my life when I was in college where I was like actually addicted to marijuana. Marijuana is addictive. It can like pretty much ruin your fucking life. I would say it like hurt a lot of areas of my life, my productivity. I think that it there's like lingering effects. I think it affected my memory when I was like heavily addicted to it. But I do think it should be legalized, and people should have like the ability to do it if they want. So that's just kind of how I view most things. And I think that there's a difference between, like, people are like, oh, well, you can't do it responsibly. I think if you're honest about, hey, gambling is not something where you're going to win money. Most likely you will lose money doing it. If you want to gamble, this is how you can do it. If you have an issue, these are helplines you can call. I think if you do it like that, I think it's you should be allowed to do it. I think it should be legal to do it. And personally, like, for myself, I do enjoy gambling. Like, even if I know I'm going to lose money. For example, I am not good at sports betting. I'm good at betting on league because I like have a lot of expertise, but I don't have enough knowledge to bet on basketball and baseball, for example. I'm a lifetime football, baseball, basketball loser. Like, I'm sure of it. If you totaled all the money that I've like put in and like all the money that I've wagered, I'm definitely down all time on betting on sports. But I personally enjoy having a small amount of money, like what I consider a small amount of money to me, on a game when I'm watching it. It just makes it more fun for me. And I think that unless it is like directly hurting others, I think you should be allowed to do it. Like, I think that I should be allowed to bet on baseball and lose money on baseball. Like, I just have fun. Like, you know, it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, like, betting on sports makes it more fun for people to watch. And I think that's like kind of that's like why people bet, right? I don't think that it's only because people are heavily addicted. And like, I don't consider myself addicted to betting. Like, you know, in the off season, I don't bet much, you know, like, I don't feel like I need to do it all the time or anything. It's just like, for example, if I go to a game and I'm going to watch a game live, I'll just like put something like $20 to $50 on it, which for me is like money that I'm completely comfortable losing. And I think that that's like a responsible way to go about it. So I don't think it is impossible to gamble responsibly. So that's like one thing that I'll say. Obviously, it is something that you need to be extremely careful of, and it's a very serious thing. So I do make sure that I have all these things in check. Like, I have stop losses. I'm like, you know, I'm going to put this amount of money in my account, and if I lose this amount of money over the course of the year, I'm done. You know, I'm done. And I'll actually hold myself to that. And if you don't have the ability to do that, you shouldn't bet. Like, it is something that is dangerous. It is a slippery slope. So I'll just preface my takes on betting with that. I think that people should be allowed to bet if they want to. I think people should be able to eat sugar if they want to. I think people should be able to, I think you should have the right as a human being. You should have the autonomy where you can go to McDonald's 50 times in one day and eat yourself to the point where you are just disgustingly like overweight if you want to do that. Like, I think that that should be legal. I wouldn't recommend it. I think it's bad to do. But I think that if somebody wants to be 500 pounds and they want to eat ridiculous amounts of fast food, it should be legal for them to do it. That's kind of how I view these types of things in general. But yeah, why we're opening up betting sponsorships in esports and how we're doing it responsibly. Well, they're opening it up because it's one of the only ways that you can still make money and have like a mutually beneficial sponsorship in esports in the current day and age. I will judge you for it, but go for it. Yeah, I mean that's how I am. Like you can judge me for what I said. Like I think some people feel like it's like a loser thing to do to bet on like baseball, or like basketball. Like I bet on like the Thunder I think I bet on the Thunder to win like almost every game because I just thought they were much better. I thought it was going to be like a 4-1. So I saw like the Thunder on like 1.4 odds versus the Pacers. I'm like, oh, that's got to be a good bet. And in the end, it was a 7-game series. Like I just thought that the Thunder were a much better team than the Pacers. And I thought that they would win in a low amount of games. And I ended up being wrong and ended up losing money on the series. But it's like I put money on it. And then I was like, because I put money on the Thunder, I was rooting for the Thunder. I enjoyed the process of it. And yeah, some people think that that's like a loser thing to do. But it's just something that I enjoy doing. And I put, for me, what a responsible amount of money on those games would be. Anyways, all right, let's read the article. At Riot, we've always believed that building the future of esports means investing in a sustainable ecosystem, not just for today, but for the long run. That's why we're focused on supporting the players, teams, and the fans who fuel it all. In 2023, I shared our vision for building a sustainable future for our esports ecosystem and later followed up with specific changes, like a new partnership model and deeper work to unlock more predictable revenue streams and sponsorship opportunities for partner teams. One area that's been on our radar and that teams have been asking us to consider for years is sports betting as a sponsor category. Today, I want to share why we're opening up the betting sponsorship category for Tier 1 LOL and Valorant teams in the Americas and EMEA, and what we're doing to make sure it's done the right way. Why sports betting and why now? We know sports betting isn't for everyone, and that some fans have strong feelings about it, and we respect that. However, the reality is that betting actively already exists around our sports and will continue whether we engage with it or not. 100% facts. Historically, this has been a restricted sponsorship category, and Riot has not engaged with betting companies. Teams have asked us to reconsider our stance. After years of analysis to ensure we got it right, we agreed it was time to open up this category to create more revenue opportunities for teams. The big issue in esports has always been that people are not willing to pay for things. Like all of esports is supposed to be free in the fans' minds, right? People don't want to pay for streams. People don't want to pay for access to VODs. People don't want to pay for, people didn't even pay for ProView, which was like a great tool. They ended up shutting it down because not many people paid for it. People want everything in esports to be free. But if everything in esports is always free, then there's going to be like no profit for anyone. I mean, it's not even profit. There's not going to even be enough revenue to cover the expenses for the teams, and eventually esports will die, right? I've yet to hear anyone come up with a solution, and if you do, man, you work for a team, you're gonna make a lot of money if you come up for a solution. I have yet to hear anyone come up with a solution to make esports profitable that doesn't involve, at this point, sports betting, getting sponsored by things that are considered unsavory, alcohol companies, fast food. Now obviously EWC is a direct sponsor of this event, so you'll see EWC ads on this event. EWC is a tournament that is sponsored by the government of Saudi Arabia. People from the government of Saudi Arabia have sponsored it, and yeah, we'll get more into that later. But outside of these categories, it's almost there's nothing else that is making a return on the investment that's at all reasonable for companies. Like I've had a bunch of different sponsorships, and I've had pretty good conversion rates for for example, other mobile games that I've been sponsored by, or I've been sponsored by most things, Disney, Coca-Cola, McDonald's. I've had all these sponsorships before, but it's very rare that the money that it would cost per viewer for them to sponsor a streamer is returned even 25 or 50% by the audience. most people just are not willing to spend money on esports because they have the culture of it being free, which is different than most other things, right? If you want to watch the NBA, you got to have a YouTube TV sponsorship most of the time. If you want to watch your team or like your team's not local, even if your team is local now, like for the Miami Heat, I know that when I was in Miami, I wanted to watch a Heat game and I have YouTube TV, but because I was in Miami, because of the the location tracking, I was not able to use YouTube TV to watch my team. And in order to watch my team, I would have needed to get the FanDuel app and pay for a subscription on the FanDuel app, which is a betting company, in order to watch my team play games that I want to see. I didn't end up doing it. I was like, I'm only here for a couple days. I opened up, one of those illegal sites, like Stream East or some shit. I opened up that shit and I just watched the game. But in general, like, you are used to paying for sports. Most sports fans are pretty used to paying for sports. Obviously now, like, people expect to, be able to watch their home teams for free, and that's even changing, where now people are going to have to pay to watch their home teams. But in terms of sports in general, most people that are fans of the NBA just accept that it's like, I'm going to need a fucking $70 a month YouTube TV sponsorship. It is what it is. It is what it is. Like, that is just what it is. Like, I've been watching a ton of Major League Baseball recently. Like, I loved baseball as a kid. It was a sport that I played growing up. I didn't watch for like almost 20 years. And then recently I was like, there's no other sports on right now. Let me just check out some Major League Baseball. I wanted to watch some baseball. And, I bought a $150 MLB TV sponsorship package. And for me, it's been great. I think the MLB TV app, I think the app has been super easy to use. I have it on my phone. I have it on my TV. I think that the way it's made is good, and I'm completely happy with that purchase. Like, that to me is like great fucking deal. Like, I've only been watching for maybe like a month, and I already feel like I've gotten the $150 worth of value, considering the amount of hours that I've watched and just like the amount of time that I've used the MLB TV app. So that is just something that, like, I am okay with. But esports fans are not okay with this. If there was like an esports, if you needed to pay for a subscription to watch LCK or LCS or whatever, so many people will just quit. Like, most people will just quit. It's like 90%, 95% of the people watching have said that they would just no longer watch if it cost money. Which means that they're going to need to generate value in other ways. And one of the ways they can do this is through sports betting. Sports betting, and more specifically esports betting, is a space that more fans choose to engage with every year. According to Sport Radar, the total betting turnover globally involving just LOL Esports and VCT reached 10.7 billion in 2024. But here's the problem. 70% of bets across all sports are placed in unregulated markets with bookmakers who aren't licensed. We believed it's better to engage in allowing betting sponsorship thoughtfully, carefully, and with the right protections than to sit on the sidelines while risks to fans and integrity go unchecked. This is something that I'm like a little bit torn on, because the thing is, like, it's hard to get regulation for betting sites. And like, there's a difference between like shady unregulated sites and like non-shady unregulated sites that actually just pay out every fucking time and have like, big brands and stuff like this. So most of the betting sponsors that teams have been sponsored by are technically unregulated sites, right? Like, all the ones that you see on jerseys and stuff, like a lot of them in pro football are just unregulated sites. So it's like, I think that is something that you have to, it's like not every unregulated site is the same. And then like, regulation is extremely hard to come by in different areas because there's different laws for every single country. So it's like, this is not even something that I personally care about. Like, I think it's just more about like, are you going to allow sports betting or not allow sports betting? I mean, to be honest, like, I guess the reason I've also never had a problem is I don't put crazy money. Like, if you're not putting crazy money on these sites, there's like almost no chance that you're going to get scammed out of like your $100 bet, As the publisher of the world's two biggest esports, we take seriously our duty to teams, players, and fans to safeguard the ecosystem we've built and position it for long-term success. This means fully owning our decision to unlock this category by establishing a well-researched sports betting partnership program that answers the call from our partner teams to open up sponsorship opportunities with betting brands to generate additional revenue for their financial health, guides and supports the development of regulations, monitoring best practices, and educational programs that protect the integrity of esports teams, pros, fans, and events. Strengthens and reinforces the competitive integrity standards of our esports competitions by improving our ability to monitor betting activity for violations of our policies. Okay, so this reminded me of something. One thing that people have been saying is that by legalizing sports betting, now there's going to be more match fixing and stuff. I actually don't agree with this at all. by the way. Like, I think that if you're going to fix a game, it doesn't matter to you're already breaking the law. I don't think it would matter if it's like an unregulated site or if it's like legal in the ecosystem or not. I think if you're somebody who is trying to throw a game for money, you're going to do it the same way they did on Valorant, with like the tier 2, and you're just going to make those decisions anyway. So like that was something that I saw the community talking about. We're like, oh, now there's going to be more match fixing. I don't think that there will be an increase in match fixing because this is now legalized. I think that in reality, like, match fixing is going to be done either way. It's already happened. Obviously, it happened a ton in VCS. This is something that people talked about, that every team in VCS got. I think there was like players from every single team from VCS that ended up getting banned for match fixing or getting some type of punishment for match fixing. Match fixing is going to exist regardless of whether or not they're sponsored or not. So I just want to throw that out there. Yeah, there was something with match fixing. Yeah, there was a ton of match fixing in Valorant lately. So match fixing generally occurs more in like tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 markets, because you can manipulate the odds a lot more because there's less people betting on those games. So the odds are going to be shifting based on how much money is on each side, because the goal of like a bookie, right, is they want to just, like, ideally for a bookie, they're going to make money either way, because what they want is they want equal money on both sides and to make money from the house edge, right? So when you bet on a game, let's say it's a directly even game, it'll be like 1.85 odds on one side and 1.85 odds on the other side. So there's like, so if you added it up, it's like you have an extra like 0.3 of the odds that is going to the bookies regardless, right? Because it's 0.15 on either side. So ideally, they just want to play off the edge, and the money that comes in on both sides, they want to be relatively equal so they're not over leveraged and they don't have their own stake on either side. So the reason why there's a lot more match fixing in tier 2 is that because there's less people betting, you can manipulate the odds a lot more. So what you can do is you can like put a $20,000 bet on one side and inflate the odds on the other side, and then put your real bet on the other side using a different account or a different person, whatever. So you can put 20K on one side, manipulate the odds, and then you're like, okay, you're going to throw this game. You're going to throw this game 100%. That team now has, like, the team that you bet on will now throw the game, and you'll put all the money on the other team, and that will just end up exploding your profits, right? Because then you'll get it at a much different odd value that you would normally get it at. So it's just something that you should also keep in mind, that tier 1 is normally not that fixed. Like, it's almost, I'm not going to say almost never fixed, but there's a lot less match fixing in tier 1 than tier 2, tier 3. Our ability to meet these goals means we have to equip teams with the right tools and guidance to effectively navigate the sports betting sponsorship space in a manner that protects the fan and esport event experience. Here are the highlights of how we are engaging sports betting partners. Vet and approve all potential sports betting partners. Before any potential sports betting partner can pursue a partnership with a partnered team, they must be vetted and approved by Riot. It's important to us to bring the same razor of scrutiny to all betting brands interested in our teams. Build on our established official partnership with Grid for a digital first sport like esports. Using clean official data is critical to weakening black markets and stopping shady operators from taking advantage of our fans and pros. That's why in 2023 we established a global partnership and investment in Grid to create a single trusted source of esports data for teams and commercial partners, including betting operators. Any potential betting partner must use Grid to power their offerings, ensuring consistency, integrity, and accountability across the boards. This is like the API, I guess, that they use. Mandate team integrity program checks. As part of our broader sponsorship guidelines, we've established a requirement for teams to create and assess their own internal integrity program, one that aligns with our expectations to ensure competitive integrity, safeguard players and young audiences, uphold responsible betting practices, integrity and uphold responsible betting practices. Integrity isn't something Riot can uphold alone. It's a shared responsibility across the entire ecosystem. Teams pursuing betting partnerships must have established an integrity program inclusive of policy development, monitoring, and education. They must also assess if this, like all other partnerships, makes sense for their brand and their fans. I mean, yeah. I mean, that last sentence could just not be there, because like, I think that you're going to do that anyway, and it's just going to be like, do you want money or not? Like, most of the time people are not going to stop being a fan of the team because they have a betting sponsorship. I mean, to be honest, most teams have had betting sponsorships, just not like not in the League of Legends part of their company. Like most, like I remember it wasn't G2 was sponsored by, I know that EG was sponsored by Thunderpick. I know G2 was sponsored by, I think it was like Bet Online or something. Like C9 was sponsored by BC Game. Like I've seen these for other games before. So most teams have had betting sponsorships. They've just been isolated from the League of Legends space. I just think that like there are only a couple options. Like you start partnering with unsavory companies that not everyone likes, that have an element of risk, but that can actually like be profitable for both sides of the partnership, or esports is just going to die eventually. Like you saw the LCK is doing super well, right? The LCK is the biggest league in the entire esports world when it comes to viewership, the biggest domestic league. And they're down like what, 30 something $million. The only way to make it profitable is if you actually are taking these types of partnerships, because no one else wants to actually partner with esports teams at the and can provide the value to the esports teams that they want, like the money that they want. Just is what it is. We're protecting the viewing experience. The last thing we want is to disrupt LOL esports and VCT broadcasts with an influx of sports betting ads. So we've established at the onset that Riot-owned broadcasts and social channels will stay betting free, which means no ads, no sponsored segments from betting partners, and no betting partner logos on team jerseys. I feel like this is like a little bit weird considering they're allowing it, because then like sure you're allowing it, but how do the betting sponsors then get value if they can't do this? It's like a little bit weird to me. It'll be up to each team to craft how sports betting related content shows up on their channels within the guidelines of the sponsorship program, content platform, TOS, and local regulations. So they're going to have to just do like Twitter videos and stuff. And I don't know exactly, like obviously they don't want to talk about like their own, like they're not like, I'm picking us to win versus this team, bet on us. Like, so I don't know. It is what it is. Oh, the tier 2 paragraph. A portion of Riot's revenue earned from the sports betting program will be invested back into tier 2 across a number of areas, including increasing prize pools and creating new tournaments to support aspiring pros, additional integrity system developments, expanding training and education programs for our partner tournament operators, and aspiring pros. Okay, yeah, be on player streams, I guess. But the thing is, like on Twitch, it's like you can't. Well, actually, I don't know what the rules are on Twitch, to be honest. Like I know that because I was a co-streamer, I couldn't have a betting sponsor, but I'm pretty sure you're allowed to have betting sponsors on your stream. Like I've seen a lot of other streamers have betting sponsors on their streams. It's just that because I'm a co-streamer, I'm not allowed to have like a betting sponsor on my stream. We believe that showing up in this space responsibly is better than letting others define it for us. I mean, this type of stuff, like, I don't really fuck with this type of stuff, personally. Where it's like, oh, we're doing like, if you're just going to take a betting sponsorship, like, I would just like to hear the honesty more than, since betting already exists, it's better that we, like, partner, or we, like, allow the teams to partner it so we can monitor it. Like, it's like we're doing a good thing by allowing sports betting. Like, to me, I don't really, like, with that much, because I think the reality is, it's like, hey, esports is not in a great spot financially, and like without having like betting sponsors, we are going to go under eventually. So we are doing this because we think that it is worth like whatever moral issues could come from us being aligned with betting sponsors, or you know, allowing betting sponsors. That is a good sacrifice for the upside of the money that we get from the betting sponsors. Like that's all it is, really. So I mean, it's just about money, right? It's the same thing when I took a betting sponsorship. Like I don't think that a betting sponsorship is super fucking good for like everyone. I'm not like, oh man, like this is a great thing that I'm doing promoting betting. I'm like, okay, if I do it responsibly, I think that it is like, if I do it responsibly, and in that context, I mean, I'm not telling you bullshit about betting. Like I tell you, if you guys bet, most likely you guys will lose, right? Even if you're in my Discord and you followed all my bets, you would be up 18 units following my bets only. But how many people saw the way I was betting and then be like, oh, I kind of understand his method, and then go and they just bet themselves and then just lose, right? Like even if I posted winning bets, people are probably losing in my own Discord. So if you're real about the fact that most likely you will lose, if you are betting, it should be with money that you're expecting to lose, or you're completely fine with losing, and you should just view it as an entertainment thing, where it's like, I am sports betting here because, you know, I think it'll make watching the matches more fun, and I'm going to put like an insignificant amount of money on it. That's your mentality. That should be your mentality when it comes to like betting. Or just don't bet. Like you don't bet with the intention of like, oh, I'm going to be the fucking genius bettor. I'm going to be the person that ends up being super rich because I'm just that good at betting. Like that is just the wrong mentality to have. So like, I think that if you're responsible in terms of telling people what it is, where it's like, this is something that is dangerous. If you have an addictive personality, or if you're not good at managing money, or you're somebody who has that mindset of like, oh, well, I got to like win this money back. Like if that's your mentality, you shouldn't bet. I think if you're promoting it for what it is and you're honest about it, I think that you should be allowed to do it. That's what I've always thought. Okay, brands from bad actors by establishing what good looks like while also providing an avenue for teams to benefit financially. With any new endeavor, there will be challenges, and if we need to make adjustments, we will. Please know our overall commitment is to do right by our players, teams, and fans, as well as the world-class esports experience that we've built together, and we want to see thrive for years to come. My Discord is full of degens? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, most people that are betting are going to be degen and not bet responsibly, which is why, like, you know, you have to do it in a way where you're trying to limit it, right? Like, like as somebody who, I guess I am degen. I mean, I'm not degen in terms of like, I don't like bet ridiculous amounts of money or anything, but I bet sports with the idea that I know I'm going to lose long term. As long as you're responsible with your bankroll, I think that's what really matters, which is the thing that's the hardest to do and why you have to be really careful when it comes to just betting in general. But yeah, I don't know. I've always thought that you should be allowed to do this stuff. And then also, one thing that I really don't fuck with is this idea that like League of Legends has a child audience or it's a game marketed to kids. I think that this was true like 10 years ago or maybe like 15 years ago when League started. The whole problem with League of Legends is that there aren't kids playing League of Legends. If you look at like high school programs, college programs, if you look at demographics from people like, for example, LCS, when they had a Bud Light sponsorship 5 years ago, the majority of their audience was over 21. The majority of every demographic that I see is that my audience is generally between the ages of 25 to 34. The majority of my audience is that age. The whole problem with League is that we don't have new players coming in. We don't have a bunch of young players that are coming up and wanting to try League of Legends, and the audience is just simply aging. Also, I just don't even feel like there's that much marketing for League of Legends in general, you know? Like I don't see League of Legends ads most places. I don't see that much put into marketing the game in general, but especially towards young kids. I don't really see that from anyone. Yeah, I guess Arcane was a very expensive ad, but the thing is Arcane didn't actually create that many more players. Like that was the whole thing about Arcane. Some people tried Arcane and wanted, like obviously there was some people that watched Arcane and wanted to play League, but there wasn't a huge increase in the player base when Arcane came out. That was just not most of the time. The reason why people don't get into League that are younger is that League has a way higher skill floor than most games. Like in order to even enjoy playing League, you need to put so much fucking time into the game to even be able to move your character, to even be able to like hit your fucking buttons, to know what's going on, to learn the different champions in the game, learn how the game works. It is so much harder to play League and then start enjoying it and know what's going on than to play another game and start enjoying it and know what's going on. If you have a limited amount of time to game, you'd have a much easier time getting into a game like TFT, for example, if you open the League client, or getting into a game like Valorant or getting into a game like COD. You'll have a much easier time getting into those games than getting into League. League is extremely hard to pick up, and that's kind of how a lot of older games were. And over time, with the way that attention spans and everything have gone, it's become like those games that take a long time to get a base level understanding of what's going on have started to like die out over time or just lost players over time. People don't really play RTS games anymore. People don't really play RTS games. Like that type of genre where it's very hard to get into, that genre is not as popular as it was like, 15 years ago when Dota was started. And well, I mean, I guess 20 years ago when Dota was started, or 25 years ago when Warcraft 3 and StarCraft were really big. It's just very hard to get into it. Valorant's pretty hard for a shooter. I mean, it is true. Valorant is pretty hard for a shooter, but it still comes down to the fact that if you've played games before, it's pretty easy to go with like I'm trying to like shoot this guy in the head. I'm just trying to like right click on the person's head. That is like the goal of what I'm trying to do here. Whereas in League, it's not very obvious what you should be doing a lot of times. Like what fucking items do I buy? When do I recall? How do I fight this guy? What abilities does the other guy have? Like, even if you're playing Valorant and you have depth and your character has abilities and stuff, it comes down to like, you have a gun, the other guy has a gun, you try to shoot them in the head. And that's how it is, So it's a lot easier for most people to grasp and get into. And then also there's a lot more similarity between FPS games like Valorant, than there is between League of Legends and almost any other game, Like FPS games, you've probably played some version of FPS if you've gamed at all in your life. Whereas a lot of people before League had not played a game like League before. Most League players had not played a game like Dota or had like a lot of experience in Warcraft 3 and stuff like that.